Oluwole Dada is a seasoned sales and marketing professional, and he has shown and demonstrated transformational leadership and exceptional competence in his career. A lot of us know him. His aptness in managing teams, and coupled with his extensive, experience with that has led to instrumental, sales revenue and profits. He's also, we also know him, some of us know him as a tutor with Simon Page College of Marketing, and he has consistently taught and lectured for the past 5 years. Oluwole is an inspiring and excellent tutor, with most of his students scoring A's in their applied marketing course. He's currently the head of sales and marketing at Secure ID Limited, Africa's largest smart card mastering company. And in his role, he has been instrumental in driving constant double-digit growth across 22 African countries. Can you hear me, please? Including Nigeria. We currently know him. His marketing initiative has significantly enhanced and has made organizational brand awareness across Africa in the smart card manufacturing industry. Oluwole's leadership and expertise has been pivotal in company success and in growth. He has worked in various industries, including consumer products, telecommunications, and technologies. These companies are not limited to Nestle, Samsung Mobile, and UAC Foods. Oluwole is known for his attention to details, and he's also known for his analytical skills and his keen interest in people management. He's an operational excellence, he's a stakeholder in management, and he has strategic details for leadership. Today, he's our host, he's our facilitator for today, and we believe that he would give us good insights into how to manage our customers properly. Thank you all for joining this section, and as he starts, we know that you will have an exceptional time here. Thank you. Mr. Oluwole, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for that introduction. I say a very good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to this session. I would like to request you to allow me to share from my end here. We'll be speaking about understanding the psychology of consumers. Basically, we're talking about consumer psychology. We are always familiar with human psychology. And human psychology talks about the behavior of human beings. Why do human beings behave the way they do? And here, we'll be talking this morning why consumers behave the way they do. And many of us are involved because as we are listening here now, we are also consumers because we get one product or the other, we buy one product or the other, and there's a reason we buy those products. So we'll be reviewing in the next 90 minutes or thereabout consumer psychology. And what do we expect at the end of this session? Understanding the need to know the consumer psychology, understanding your consumer behavior. Why do your consumers behave the way they do? And what influences their buying attitude? And then you have the B2C and B2B approach, consumer marketing, organizational marketing. Somebody who will sell a tractor needs to understand his consumer different from somebody selling confectionery. Somebody selling cosmetics needs to understand his consumer in a different manner from somebody selling hospital equipment. What is the effect of the macro environment on the psychology of consumers? I don't know, perhaps people are joining from outside Nigeria, but I'll be picking examples from much more from Nigeria. Today, Nigeria is experiencing inflation in the range of 28 to 30%. And this has definitely affected the way consumers behave. The principles of market segmentation. In order to get the best from your consumers, your market needs to be segmented. And how are these markets segmented? And I'll be giving us examples as we go on in this session. And then the importance of data in predicting consumer behavior. To get the best from your consumer, it is important to understand that data is very important. And data is not free. Data is purchased. So these are the things that we'll be reviewing in the course of the next few minutes. So consumer psychology is the study of how the consumer's attitudes, feelings, preferences, intentions, thoughts, and beliefs affect or influence their decisions in the marketplace. There are various videos that many of us in Nigeria may have seen in recent times, either they are skits or they are real life, whereby people get to the market and they do not have enough money to buy what they want to buy. This will definitely affect the volume to be sold by organization. For many of our consumer goods, and for emphasis, because some of these things are public knowledge, it will be good for me to share. Unilever had a very good performance at the end of 2023. But as much as they had a double-digit growth in revenue, it will interest you to know that volume growth accounted for just 3%. That means they grew their volume marginally, and that means they did quite well. Some other companies had decline in their volume growth. And this is because the consumer behavior in recent times in Nigeria is traceable to their inability to buy because purchasing power is declining. So organizations need to understand this. Businesses need to evaluate it so as to change their own strategy in reaction to events in the marketplace. These decisions are influenced by external factors, and we'll be saying that the political factors, the economic factors, the environmental factors. We remember how COVID-19 impacted people's decisions in the year 2020. Now, consumers take decisions based on quality of products, the price of products, the convenience, how easy is it to get this product, experience with the product, and personal taste. In recent times, by personal experience, I've discovered that Nigerian airlines cannot be trusted. Perhaps you are going for a meeting, you are going out of Lagos to the political capital of Nigeria, and your meeting is 9 a.m. and you want to take the first flight out of Lagos. You may be disappointed by the delay in the flight or the cancellation of the flight. And I'm telling you by personal experience. Now, my behavior as a consumer will change if I want to make my meeting in a punctual manner. So you will not see someone like me having a meeting in the morning in Abuja and I am leaving Lagos that same day. No, I would. my behavior is changing as a result of my experience with the product and service of the organization. And I mean, this event, this session is to let each one of us go back home, reflect, see how we are treating our consumers, and make changes. So I may be mentioning names, and it will be of interest for us to relate. I wrote an article concerning Ibom here at the time. And the article was written to commend them for their exceptional customer service. Unfortunately, the same Ibom here cannot be trusted today. So organizations need to understand that customer satisfaction is also part of the things that impact consumer psychology. So consumers make judgments and evaluate based on these factors: the quality of service, the convenience, the experience, their personal taste. Now, if you do not want your consumers to make decisions against you, you need to be in touch with them at every point in time to know how their experience is concerning your products and services. Now, you must understand that no two customers are the same. Hence, organization must understand each customer, or rather each segment of customer, and provide products that fit them. So in designing products, organizations must put into consideration the kind of customers they want to target. And in targeting them, they must understand their feelings, understand their ability to spend. Those who are selling phones are experiencing a decline in sales. And that is why at a time like this, despite the fact that there will be a decline in sales, the phone sales that will be selling more are those at the low end. These are things each organization must understand in order to satisfy their customers, because consumer psychology that we are trying to evaluate is to understand the consumer better and be able to serve them better. So if you do not understand your customers, you cannot serve them effectively. Now, what are the importance of understanding our consumer buying behavior? I've explained in passing some personal experiences. Now, I mentioned some companies, and so as not to sound as if I'm impacting some brands negatively, I will keep their names. But some of you know some brands that are known for flight delays. In a country where there is enough alternative, those airlines will begin to experience a decline in revenue. And for any customer that understands that going on the flight and keeping to your time is important to customers, they will begin to experience an increase in revenue. So your sales figure can be improved when you study customers, and you can alter the way you sell your products to them depending on the ways that customer buys them. So you have a company, the Apple company, they have decided to target the high end. But you have the likes of Samsung, Infinix, Itel, Techno, and some other ones that I may not remember their names now. They have phones for the low end. So when they are looking at a country like Nigeria, and they realize that you have a lot of poor people, and this is not in a way to disparage my very dear country, but the statistics are there that Nigeria has a lot of poor people. So any company that wants to make so much sales in a country like Nigeria must know how to target the lower end of the pyramid. In other words, called the bottom of the pyramid. So when you realize that the economic situation is making a lot of people poorer, the economic situation is making out-of-pocket spend reduce, organizations will look for how to target the people with lower end products so as to increase their revenue. So when you understand your customers better, you'll be able to increase your revenue. Secondly, you'll be able to improve your brand equity. So consumer insight helps customers to restructure brand and change its perception in the mind of the people, thereby getting higher turnovers. So I remember some years back when Cowbell came into the country to fight pig milk. There were other milk that time. You have the likes of Carnation thereabout. That seems to be out of supply now. But pig milk had to respond because they realized that the behavior of the customers is beginning to consider the lower end milk. I mean, Cowbell started the standardization of milk. And so in the sight of customers, they begin to see this as a milk for the people who could not afford pig milk. And you know, as at that time, those years ago, milk used to be seen as a product for the high-end people. But that was what Cowbell came to break. And so understanding your customers, understanding their ability to spend, understanding their thinking, their feeling, their intentions, their perceptions of a product will help you to improve your brand equity. Another point, your product portfolio, which in passing I've mentioned, talking about phones. Continuous observation of consumer behavior can enable marketers find gaps in their product portfolio, which can in turn help launch new products to the ultimate satisfaction of customers. So you see sachetization, yogurt that used to be in packs are beginning to have sachet too. And these are necessary reactions by organizations to be able to meet the demands of customers. So product portfolio is being adjusted, new products are being launched to be able to meet the demands of customers. The fourth point, market trends are changing. Events in the environment are making consumers to change their thinking. You see, consumers are beginning to get conscious of their health in recent times. I mean, different health issues that are being announced on a daily basis, kidney issues and so on. It's making people to get more health conscious. So that gives you an idea that the market trend is going in a different direction. And a very good example of this is the company called 7-Up Bottling Company. During COVID, they started the production of hand sanitizers. They were able to take advantage of the event in the ecosystem. I mean, these are fantastic ideas taken on by organizations. So you will be able to understand market trends by studying consumer behavior. The next point, segmentation and targeting. So segmentation and targeting becomes easier when you are observing consumer behavior. You're able to understand the category your consumers belong to and then produce a product to fit that segment. Forecasting. The study of consumer psychology enables marketers to forecast sales and demand. There are certain products that do not sell in the rainy season and vice versa. Analyzing consumer behavior helps the company to save warehousing costs, manufacturing costs, and marketing costs. Why will you keep an inventory of products that will not sell, thereby tying down your money? In essence, proper utilization of resources are achieved. When you study your consumers, you are able to analyze the reason they buy the products they buy, and more importantly, why do they buy your competitors' products? There's one thing I always say, and I will repeat it. There are two people you must understand if you want to succeed as an organization: your consumers and your competitors. You need to understand why your consumers behave the way they do. You need to understand why your competitors are buying. You need to understand why your consumers behave the way they do. You need to understand why your consumers are buying your competitors' products. You also need to understand the actions and inactions of your competitor so that you might respond appropriately. I remember in my days in the consumer goods, a competitor will be running a promotion and you will bring the feedback to the organization that this promotion is being run by the competitor. You hear stories such as, don't worry, it will soon fade out. But I tell you from experience, 6 months down the line, that promotion is still being run by the competitor. You must not ignore the actions and inactions of your competitor, because it's a war. You are fighting for market share, and your competitor does not mind ensuring that you go out of business. The plan of your competitor is to take away business from you. And the question is, will you watch your competitor take your business away? And your competitor is going to take business away from you on the basis that he wants to satisfy your customers better than you do. So you must understand what is your competitor doing to befriend your own consumer. Because all of you are fighting for the same consumers, especially when you are targeting the same markets. So understanding your consumer will help you to analyze your competitors, and you will know what are the competitors feeding your consumers that is making your consumer move away to them. So I mentioned the issue of flight the other time. A good airline that wants to take the market share in the ecosystem must understand what do the competitors want. And I'm sure for local flights in Nigeria, we're not asking for too much. We are saying when you call a flight 7 a.m., make it 7 a.m. When you call a flight 8 p.m., make it 8 p.m. And ensure that your aircraft are well serviced, your pilots are well trained, your hostesses are very friendly. When you do these things, you'll be able to take over the market and become the market leader. But if you continue to ignore the cries of your consumers, if you continue to ignore their intent, their perceptions, their desires, you will soon be out of business. Enhance customer engagement. Comprehending customer behavior helps businesses to tailor their products and services to meet customer needs. So I've mentioned that in passing. When you are able to meet your customers' needs, it enhances your customer engagement. Your customers are happy with you. You are able to satisfy your customers better. Now, these are for managers, and it's critical that when you understand your consumer behavior, it helps you to take the right decision. And the right decision will keep your organization ahead of your competitors. You need the right decision for marketing. You need the right decision for product development. And it's not just about developing any product and say, okay, we have a top-down mandate to develop new product. No. Developing new products is not just enough. You must develop new products that meet the needs of the consumer. The best decisions are made in every organization when you have the right information. And you can only have the right information when you understand the consumers that are going to buy your product. Now, what are factors that influence consumer behavior? As you've seen in this chart, you have psychological factors, social factors, cultural factors, personal factors, and economic factors. Now, I look at the economic factors, and the reason I'm interested in this is because that in Nigeria today is an important point. Your personal income. You can only buy products within the limit of what you have or what you earn. And if what you earn has not been increasing over the last few years, and the prices of goods have been increasing over the past few years, what it means is that you will not be able to buy enough as you used to buy. Now, let me give you some insights. In the last 3 years, and I'm sure it will become the 4th year now, vegetable oil and dairy products, basically milk, have been on a decline. And the reason is because people are unable to afford more of it. So the market for vegetable oil, the market for milk has been shrinking in the last 3 to 4 years. And it is because personal income for a larger part of the population have remained stagnant, and the prices of these goods have continued to increase. The same thing applies to family income. The same thing applies to income expectations. Now, consumer credit. Now, I'll give you a starting statistics. May not be accurate, but you will get the point I'm trying to make. In South Africa, in 2023, there are over 20,000, and far more than 20,000, but I don't want to give an exaggerated figure, far more than 20,000 brand new cars were sold in that economy. In the Nigerian economy, which is assumed to be bigger than the South African economy, the number of brand new cars that were sold were now up to 10,000. One of the things that drives economies like South Africa and advanced economy is the consumer credit. So you have opportunity to buy products and pay later. You have opportunity to buy products and split the payment over 12 months or 24 months. So consumer credit is something that can enhance the Nigerian populace's ability to buy more. And possibly we have government representatives in this meeting. It's important that this is an area the government must look into. How do we increase consumer credit in our economy? It will help. It will tweak our consumer behavior. It will change the way consumers make purchases, and definitely it will affect the economy and give much more opportunities for organizations to sell their products. Savings. Savings is also an economic factor that can affect consumer behavior. Now let's look at personal factors. Age. Different age with different needs. A place like Nigeria, where 70% of the population are below the age of 30. Nigeria is actually one of the highest countries when it comes to birth of babies. No wonder you see a lot of diaper companies coming into Nigeria. In the last 5-6 years, the number of diaper countries that have entered this country is nothing less than 4. And it is because they've seen an opportunity based on age that there is an age bracket where babies are so many, and we give opportunity for them to sell more of their diapers. Your occupation can also determine your behavior. A lawyer, you see a lawyer who is much more in white and black. So a lawyer will likely have more of his shirts to be white, and he will have more black suits. So your occupation can also determine your behavior, your lifestyle. Now, liquid asset of consumer is also one of the economic factors. Because of time, let me run very quickly. Cultural factors, our culture. So in Nigeria today, the culture of those in the Southwest is different from the culture of those in the North, is different from the culture of those in the East. And this was taken advantage of by SAB Miller, who was later acquired by AB InBev. They bought over international breweries in Ilesha, which is in southwest Nigeria, and all their adverts are tailored towards the Yoruba culture. Now, they were wise enough to go to the East and also brought about the Hero beer with a similitude of the Biafran flag. And you know how important Biafra is to the Eastern people. So these things are done to take advantage of the culture of that area. So the company has seen the behavior of the people in each of these areas, looking at their culture, and have decided to leverage on it so as to make so much sales. And they have been able to do that, and they pushed Guinness to far number 3, and they took a dominant number 2, and almost getting close to Nigerian breweries, who has been number 1 for many years. So that's an organization that has taken advantage of the cultural factors. Now, that cultural factor also takes place in your advertising. You must not ignore cultural factors when it comes to your advertisement plans. You see some companies, the kind of adverts they run in the Southwest is different from the kind of advert they run in the North, because the culture is totally different. Social factors, family reference groups, roles and status, they also play an impact on consumer behavior. Now, psychological factors, motivation, that's your personal desire, your perception, how you perceive a product, your learning, that's your experience from a product. I mentioned something regarding my experience with an airline and how that has changed my behavior that I cannot afford. I've done that before, whereby I was going for a meeting and I got to the airport and I was told that my flight that was to be 7 o'clock has now been moved to 10:45. I had to go and get another flight because I was going for a meeting. And ever since that happened to me, I won't go for a meeting on a particular, I won't be going for a meeting on a Monday morning and then decide to fly that same morning. I would rather fly the previous day. And these are things that affect that psychological factor. My experience of that event has changed the way I behave. Attitude and belief. Your belief system can also affect the way you behave and buy products. Now, I mentioned earlier on that you have consumer marketing and you have organizational marketing. Now, I work in a B2B organization where we produce payment cards for the banks, and our relationship is with the banks. Now, a company selling tractor is a B2B company. A company selling health equipment is a B2B company. The way and manner you will treat your customers as a B2B company is different from the way and manner somebody working in a consumer goods company will treat his customer. And they are two different things. And that's why you must understand the differences between them so as to know how to relate with the individuals in this segment. So if you're in a B2C, so you are talking about the likes of Nestle, Unilever, GSK, Cadbury, PZ. These are consumer marketing companies. So goods and services are purchased to meet individual and family needs. Needs emphasis on psychological benefits. People buy on impulse with minimal processes. They don't think so much about it before they make their purchases. And based on what I said in the previous slide, your motivation, perception, learning, these are much more to the individuals and much more to consumer marketing. So you buy in small quantities and you buy frequently. You are content with standardized products. You purchase from intermediaries. So you purchase from people in the small stores, you purchase from people in the market. And emphasis is justified on mass media communication. So you advertise on TV, advertise on billboards. Now, for B2B marketing, also called the organizational market, goods and services are bought for specific business needs. So you see the likes of Friesland Campina making purchases of cars from Toyota or from Hyundai. That's a B2B arrangement. And the company is buying it for specific business needs. The needs emphasis are on economic benefits. So rather than a psychological benefit where consumer marketing is done, this is more on economic. There's a formalized lending process. So you want to buy something, you are dealing with a company, you are talking about processes that may take 3 months. These processes may take 6 months. That means in the formalized process of their policies, their purchases. Okay. Now it involves large groups in purchasing decisions. So you have the procurement department, you have the finance department, all of them are involved in the process. Now, you are able to negotiate price in a B2B arrangement, and then you purchase directly from suppliers. Emphasis is justified on personal selling. So you want to sell to an hospital, you have to go to them, discuss your products and services with them for them to make the purchases. So you could see the differences between consumer marketing and organizational marketing. Now, why do I take time to discuss this? It is because some people are in B2B and they are applying the principles of B2C, because B2C is much more common than B2B. So as a result of this, they are not making a headway because they are not taking the right approach to their principles. Now, for a B2B, there are other factors that can affect the decisions of the individuals in the organization. The demand for the products, technology, resources available. Now, I'm sure this is not something everybody may want to hear, but it's the truth. Politics. And I'm discussing, this is an academic conversation. This is not just one of those conversations online. Politics is involved in the decisions that organizations take. Competition. What is your competition offering them? Culture and social factors. Economic factors. So you hear companies saying they are making losses because of the forex exchange differentials. Definitely those companies are not going to be able to buy products from you the way they used to buy. And what is your responsibility as an organization? In a time like this, you need to be looking for cost-cutting approach. You need to activate your cost leadership strategies so that you can remain afloat in business. Because economic factors are affecting the companies that are going to make purchases from you. You are also being affected by issues that are beyond you. So the only way for you to stay afloat is to see how you can cut costs. Now, organizational factors that can also affect B2B, policies, procedures, and processes. Systems and structures. Systems of each organization differ. Corporate culture. Culture of each organization differ from one to another. Having worked in different FMCG companies, I'm aware that each organization has its own culture, and that culture can affect the way they make purchases. Motives and interest, group or interpersonal factors. Interest of individuals can affect their purchases. Perceptions, attitude towards risk, also emotions. Now, these are the people, I'm talking about B2B now, and for those who are online, who are dealing with B2B, I want them to take note of this. And you need to develop a strategic relationship with everyone that I've listed. The users. These are the people who are going to use your product and who are going to talk about the need for your product. They are going to tell the procurement department about their needs. So if you don't have a strategic relationship with these people, you may end up missing it or not optimizing your sales. So influencers, they provide information which helps with the specification and evaluation. Deciders, they have the authority to make the decision. These are the approvers. So in this instance, you have the finance directors, you have the CFOs. You need a strategic relationship with each one of these people. We are talking about consumer psychology, and you are trying to understand consumer psychology so as to optimize your revenue, because that was where we started from. That what is the importance of understanding the way your customers behave? And if you don't understand each one of these individuals and how they think, you will not be able to optimize your revenue. You will not be able to take the right decisions. The buyers are people in the procurement department. The gatekeepers, these are people that control the flow of information by denying access to key members of the decision unit. So you need a relationship with each one of these people so as to be able to optimize your revenue and be able to take the right decisions for your organization. The macro environment, that's the external influence on consumers and organizations. Government policy. Government policies can make or mar an organization and can determine the way consumers behave. We've had many government policies in this country, from issues of banning of certain products coming into the country, political stability. So these are things that can determine the way consumers behave. Corruption. Corruption also influences the way people behave. Foreign trade policy, tax policy, labor law, trade restrictions. So when the borders were closed, you saw the way consumers reacted, especially when it comes to the issue of rice. Economic growth. Today, the country in the last report grew by a little less than 3%, but that is still below the growth of the country. That means for every time that the economy is growing below the population growth, per capita income is on a decline. Exchange rate. I'm sure people have said, are we spending dollars in Nigeria? Why is it that we're always talking about dollars? But the truth is, everything you buy, or most things, let me not say everything, most things you buy in this country has a relationship with the dollar. For those of you in construction, or maybe you are building a house, for most of the items that you will use in building your house has a relationship with the dollar, because either the raw materials are being imported or the product itself are being imported. So maybe the likes of the sand or the labor is what is not going to be affected by the exchange rate. But like I always tell people, do an exercise. Either you're in your office as I speak or you are inside your home. Look around and see how many things are inside the room where you are that are not imported. Not only that, let's go further. How many things are inside your room, even though they are locally made, that the raw materials are not imported? So the exchange rate has a way of impacting the behavior of the consumer, especially in a country like Nigeria, where a lot of things that we produce are being imported or the raw materials are being imported. Interest rate from the banks has a way of impacting consumers and the way they behave. Inflation rate, I've mentioned that in passing. Once the prices of goods are increasing and the salaries of people are not increasing, it will affect their choices for those products. Disposable income, the same thing. The inflation rate is what leads to the disposable income, because as the inflation rate is increasing, disposable income is reducing. Unemployment rates, this may sound funny, but the unemployment rate has a reflection on people turning to crime. But the truth is, that is also an impact of consumer behavior, because either you like it or not, even those who still buy something in the market, they are also part of the consumer. So some of them are criminals. So you still need to understand them as well. It may sound funny, but part of those who buy your products are criminals, because criminals buy food, criminals buy drinks, they will still buy water. So you still need to understand the way they behave. Population growth rates, age distribution, I mentioned that in passing, that if you don't understand the distribution, the age distribution of Nigerians, you may not be able to take the right decision concerning the products that you sell. Because the Nigerian populace today is tilted towards the youth. So if you say Nigeria is 200 million, it means over 140 million, or possibly put it at 140 million. Around 140 million Nigerians are 30 years and below. In fact, I checked the statistics sometimes ago, that the number of the elderly in the country, I mean 65 years and above, are now up to 10 million. And this is something you will see in the next few slides, that data is important in understanding your consumers. Many times, many of us take decisions, even in organizations, without accurate data. And data is not just something you just think get anywhere. Data is bought. Data is purchased. So you see the other S there, health consciousness, lifestyle attitude, cultural barriers. Now we talk about technology. Technology has a way of impacting the way consumers behave. Now going to government policy, you remember in Nigeria, that was around this time last year when the policy came up about being cashless, and a lot of cash were taken away from circulation. You saw the way consumers' attitude changed. It shows to you that as an organization, you must be sensitive to changes in the environment, because the way consumers behaved yesterday does not guarantee that they will behave the same way today. So you must be evaluating consumer behavior at every point in time. So technology changes also impact consumer behavior. You see everybody on the phone these days. If it's becoming an addiction, that's the impact of technology. Automation. All these things affect the way consumers behave. And how can you take advantage of these behavior changes? That is why we are here this afternoon for this session. That when you understand all these factors that impact the behavior of consumers, it will help you take the right decisions. Because when you take wrong decisions, it can wreck an organization. Going to E, weather, climate, environmental policies. That makes us remember COVID-19. People were no longer shaking again. It changed the behavior. People were covering their nose, covering their mouth. It was a behavior change. And why? Because of a weather change, because of changes in the environment. You also need to understand how laws can impact the way a consumer behaves. Discrimination laws, antitrust laws, employment laws, consumer protection laws. Now, one of the problems we have in a country like Nigeria is that there are no consequences for breaking laws. And it makes people to do things and think they can get away with it. But when people know that once they break laws, they will be dealt with and nobody can plead with them or for them, it will change the way they behave. I'm sure for those people who have been in Lagos for years, you saw that there was a consumer behavior change when LASMA came on board. The way people were driving without caution and in a reckless fashion changed when there were laws put in place and regulatory officers were on the road to get hold of anybody who is breaking the law. Now, Lagos have come back to say that if you cross the road where there is a pedestrian bridge, the kick against indiscipline, the enforcement agent called kick against indiscipline, will hold you and you may go to jail or you may be fined. You will see consumer changes as a result of these laws and its implementation. So this is to show to you that external factors in the macro environment can impact consumers and organizations and impact the way they behave. Now we move to principle of segmentation. You recall that I mentioned earlier that consumers who behave in the same fashion, who behave in the same manner, are grouped together, and that is called segmentation. So segmentation is dividing your total market into groups of consumers who share common characteristics. It's the act of dissecting the marketplace into submarkets that require different marketing mix. So if you are segmenting your market, your marketing mix for each segment is different. Now, you will realize that the way Apple advertises to its customers is different from the way Techno advertises to its customer, because the consumer segment is totally different. So the pricing is different, the product is different, the promotion is different, the advertising is different, because each segment has different marketing mix that is used to target the consumers. Again, segmentation is the process of dividing the market into distinct subsets of consumers. Those consumers have common needs, they have common interests, they have common priorities or characteristics. And you now have to select one of it or target more than one, with each one having a distinct marketing mix. Now, this is important, and that is why it was put in the color red. Each group or segment responds to marketing action in a different manner. And this is not in a derogatory manner. The people who live in Lekki Phase 1, or the people who live in Ikoyi, Lagos, Nigeria, or for those of you who are outside Nigeria, I'm sure maybe people from Ghana, the people who live in Accra, Ghana, or people who live in Douala, Cameroon, are going to respond to a marketing action in a different manner to those who live in the outskirts. Maybe you talk about Kumasi, that's in Ghana, or in Nigeria, you talk about Enugu, or you talk about Ilesha, or you talk about Ife, or you talk about Guzo in Zamfara. Or for those of you who live in Lagos, the people who live on the Lagos Island, who live in Lekki, are going to respond to a product or marketing activity in a different manner to those who live in Songwater or who live in Ifo. Now, that is not to sound in a derogatory way, but is to let you know that each segment responds to marketing action in a different manner. And this must be put into consideration when you're advertising. It must be put into consideration when you are setting your price. It must be put into consideration when you are developing new products. Now, there are different ways to segment your market. And I may want to move very quickly as we prepare to shut down. You have a geographic segmentation. So this is based on the location of the target market. So in Nigeria, you could segment your market based on the regions. You have the Southwest, you have the North Central, you have the Southeast. And incidentally in Nigeria, each one of these regions behave in different way. The Southwestern Nigerians behave in a different way to the Southeastern Nigerians. I mean, funny enough, I mean, it's incidental, or either it was deliberate, but you find a way that the North Central, they have a way of behaving in a similar manner, and they behave in a different way to those who are in the Northwestern Nigeria. The South-South, despite the fact that the South-South and the Southeast are in the similar area, they behave in a totally different way. So a geographic different segmentation is considering the location of the target market, and then you understand that people who live in that area behave in a similar manner. And then you have demographic segmentation. You partition your market based on factors such as age, gender, marital status, income, occupation, education, and ethnicity. So you may decide to focus your particular product on a gender because you know they are men. So you see a product such as Nivea, you call Nivea for men. Or marital status, so you have a product for those who are married. Or income. Now, there's also the geodemographic segmentation. Now, it's an hybrid segmentation based on the notion that people who live close to one another are likely to have similar financial means. So in a place like Lagos, we believe that people who live in Ikoyi are going to have similar means, financial state, financial taste, same behaving in a similar manner. Same way, if you look at our political capital in Nigeria, people live in Asokoro, Maitama, they live close to one another and are likely to have similar financial means. Psychographic segmentation is a partition of the market based on lifestyle and personality characteristics. And then you have behavioral segmentation. Now, why is this segmentation important? It is because you will understand the way your customers behave and you'll be able to segment them, thereby using a different marketing mix to attack each one. I mentioned earlier that data is important in predicting customer behavior. So you need to collect data and analyze it so as to help you in predicting how your customer will behave. The credibility of your data assists the organization in accurate and prompt decision making. Now, in those days, you can afford to take time before you take decision. In this age and time, a day reluctance in taking decision can cost you millions. And you need to be updated with the relevant data so as to understand the importance of taking your decision promptly and in an accurate manner. Today, you have volatility of prices in a way and manner that I'm not sure it has existed in this country for over 30 years, but that is the situation we find ourselves. But as marketing professionals, we need to respond adequately or we become victims of it. Now, somebody was sharing an experience with me over the weekend. Someone who wanted to buy a particular building material. The guy gave a quotation of 6,000 naira. The following day, and I mean the following day, 24 hours after that went there, the product was now 8,100. He told the person who is the owner of the product, I mean, the person who wants to buy, that one thought he was joking. The day they went there, I think 2 days after that they went there, the product was now 10,100. I'm sure it's no news to you now that cement is now over 9,000 naira. Now, permit me, for those who may be outside Nigeria, I'm using Nigerian examples, and bear with me because you have many of the audience as Nigerians. And if cement is selling for 9,000 naira now, just few weeks ago, it was 6,000. In fact, I think 2 weeks ago, it was 7,000 naira. That shows to you that if you fail to take decisions promptly, you will pay for it dearly. So you must find a way to get data and take advantage, use that data immediately. You cannot afford to be slack. Now, data collection, otherwise called market research, looks at specific marketplaces. It describes users in those markets and how much product they may use. Data gathering enables marketers to gain competitive edge, reduce financial and image risk. Data helps to determine consumer attitude and monitor the environment. Why am I emphasizing data and I'm telling you how important it is? Because many people take decisions without using data. And when you take decisions without using data, you are taking a decision based on fluke, based on assumption. Sometimes you have intuition, but you need data to verify your intuition. So that's my last point on this slide. Data helps you to verify intuition. Now, data helps you to coordinate strategy and measure performance. The quality of your strategy is dependent on the quality of data at your disposal. Data collection improves advertising credibility. If you want to advertise, you also need data to know the kind of advert that are relevant to the areas you're advertising to. And also to gain management support for decisions. So sometimes you are approaching your boss for certain things, but if you're able to back it up with data, you'll be able to get your decisions approved. And so for many here, it's important for me to say, some of the reasons you are not getting your approvals is because you are not backing up your presentations with data. I want to repeat for emphasis. Some of the reasons, or one of the reasons, why you are not getting approvals for your presentations from online managers is because you are not backing up your presentations with data. Nobody doubts data except a fool. So when you present data, it gives credibility to what you are presenting. And data gathering improves effectiveness of the organization. Now, these are examples of research agencies which will be of interest to you. Kantar TNS, Nelson, Statista, Ipsos, Euromonitor, Market Vision Research, B2B International. There are more than this, and these ones did not pay me for advert anyway, but it's good for me to share with you because many of you may be asking, oh, where do we get this data? We are talking about data. Where do we get them? These are examples of organizations that are data specialists. And you are looking for data, it's better you approach them for the kind of data you are looking for. Data can be qualitative and quantitative, and I would like to round off in the next few minutes. Data can be qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative is based on perception, views, feelings. Now, quantitative is more about data. Quantitative is more about numbers. So you are gaining quantifiable insights into behavior, motivations, and attitude. So take note, there are two forms of data, qualitative or quantitative. So qualitative is about feelings, it's about perception, it's about views and attitude, while quantitative is about numbers, it's about quantifiable insights into why people behave the way they do. Having the insight, quantifiable insights, that's what quantitative data does for you. And your data can come in the primary form or secondary form. Now, what is primary form? Primary form is where you go after the data yourself. So as an organization, you need to do surveys, you need to do, you can do mystery shopping. And what is mystery shopping? Mystery shopping is when you go behind to find out how your customers are being treated. So you have a supermarket and you tell your friend to go to that supermarket, or you disguise. You enter that supermarket. For someone like you, possibly you don't put on a turban, and this particular day you put on a turban and a dark shade so that none of your team members would identify you. And you go into the supermarket to evaluate how your your staff members are treating customers. Or you can put a call across your customer service desk to see how they are going to respond to the inquiries from customers. You know, that is mystery shopping. Now, so your secondary data is when you are going into the internet and then you go to libraries to find out how people are behaving in that particular area. Now, primary data and secondary data. Secondary data is data that has been available before, and then you extract. Meanwhile, primary data is the one you decide to go for yourself. Primary data should be you need to go for primary data after you have exhausted your secondary data sources. Now, these are examples of primary data: survey, sampling a group of people through series of easy to answer questions. Like, know how your customers are feeling. I'm not sure. You see me making examples of airlines so more and more, maybe because I've been dealt with over and over. You know, I hardly see any of the airlines talking about feedback from customers, and maybe it's because they already know that the answers they will get from consumers are not going to be good, so they are not bothering making any attempt to ask the customers questions. Now, interviews are open-ended questions that will enable in-depth information. Focus group, so you have a group of people who you are asking questions for, and then you could have panel. A Delphi is having a particular set of questions, and you're asking subject expert, you know, observations and participation, watching and listening to an event taking place, experiment, a scientific procedure to make a discovery or test hypothesis. Now, these are primary data, and you can use these to evaluate how customers are reacting to your product. Now, for secondary data, government sources, consumer market research report, trade and industry sources, competitor data. You must go after data of your competitors. You must not be in any business and don't have information about your competitor. You need to find out. Either you buy it from these data agencies, or you find a way to get it. Because your competitor is also getting information from you. You know, trade statistics, industry reports, all these are important ways by which you can get secondary data that can be useful for you as an organization. Now, I want to share with you in closing the impact of marketing mix on consumer behavior. Now, you have what you call the 7 P's of marketing, and these are the product, price, place, promotion, people, process, and physical evidence. Now, let's take it one by one as I close. Your product must be of high quality with its packaging for consumers to become attracted to it. So the kind of product you release, or if you are into a service industry, the kind of this product determines how consumers respond to you. And you need to check on consumers from time to time. Go to the supermarket, stay there, find out those who buy your product, have they bought your product before? These are things that you can commission these data agencies to help you find out. Price, the cost of a product to customers. Now, I know a bottling company who was number 2 as at 4 or 5 years ago, but because of the price of their product that has gone up, they are now number 6 or 7. It shows to you how cost can impact the way consumers react to your product, and they can decide to leave your product. You know, place, how the product is distributed to the consumer. How easy is it for your consumers to buy your product? I remember recently when P&G decided to leave Nigeria, finally, hoping that one day they will come back. And there was this uproar about what went wrong. But the truth is, P&G failed in one or more of these lists that I've mentioned. Oh, they were doing well in their promotion. Everybody knew them. You see their advert all over. But they failed on that place. They had limited number of distributors across the country. Meanwhile, their competitor who were coming in, so competitors such as Morphix, competitors such as KissKid, they were making their products available, having distributors in almost every town and city. So one was easy to buy, the other one was not available. They failed on price. They were not sensitive to the impact of the economy on the people. What they should have done in order to keep their profit margin is to find a way to reduce their cost of production so that they will be able to price in an affordable manner to the consumers. Leaving the price as if the people in the ecosystem are not impacted by the economic situation is living living a foolhardy. So they were not sensitive to understand that consumers are being impacted by inflation. Consumer purchasing power was reducing. They failed on products. The quality of their products was on the decline. And people were going for Morphix, they were going for KissKid. So why will they not shut down eventually? Because when a company does not have products to sell again, and people have rejected your product, they have decided to go for other people, then they will shut down eventually. So it's not enough to do well on promotion. No. You need to do well all round. So promotion, you must advertise. Don't think because your product will sell itself. No product sells itself. One of the statements I came across sometimes ago is that having a product and not advertising it is like winking to a lady in the dark. You are the only one who knows what you are doing. No other person knows. I mean, can you imagine it's in the night and you are winking, trying to wink at a lady. The lady doesn't see you. You are the only one who knows what you are doing, and you are the only one who sees yourself. So you need to get out of putting yourself in the dark. Don't say nobody knows. You need to find a way to build your brand. Even just by being on social media, which is the cheapest form of advertisement, start somewhere. Let people begin to know you. And gradually you begin to grow. People need to know you before they can buy your product. So it's important to differentiate your product. And I like to say in this meeting that go back from here. If your organization does not have a presence on social media, go back from here and ensure that starts from today. Or give yourself a target. I mean, it doesn't cost you so much to put up a social media account on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Grow your account gradually. I mean, not starting at all is a problem. Start somewhere and begin to make yourself known. And then very soon, you begin to attract people. I want to repeat again for emphasis. Having a product and not advertising it is like winking to a lady in the dark. You are the only one who knows what you are doing. No other person knows. Now, people, you must have caring people. You must have people who are concerned. You must have problem-solving personnel, not people who will see problems in your organization and everybody is looking at it and things are going down the drain. Your process must be easy booking system and processes, swift responses to queries. You call some organizations and then they keep calling the customer service and they are not responding. Physical evidence, the ambience. How is the ambience of the office? Standard and sophisticated equipment. This is relevant to healthcare. You know, you go to some hospital and then you just imagine nature of building, convenience, cleanliness. All these also impact consumer behavior. they can either attract customers to you or they can repel customers from you. Thank you very much. It's been a nice time with you. I have some charts here. Let me check. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ajobu Lawrence. Thank you very much. Okay, somebody said I should back up my presentation with data. I do hope I was able to say some things. The rule, don't forget your customers and never let your customers forget you. Okay, I also mentioned that you must not forget your competitors, but you must not lose sight of your customers because your customers are the real reason you are in business. You are not in business because of your competitors, but you must not overlook whatever your competitors are doing. Put your brand in the mind of your customers at all times. Be visible. Thank you very much, Mr. Shitoy Consult. The marketing mix must be coordinated, absolutely. In a saturated market, visibility is pivotal and service experience is fundamental. Question, as an agency, what are the recommendations for managing top CEs to become price sensitive, especially with the current market realities, when their brand persona archetype is premium? Okay, well, the reality of it is that in times like these, those who sell premium products need to find a way around it. And I'll give you an example. When I owned that and Kia, the time they were able to penetrate the Nigerian market was the time we had a similar forex crisis like this in 2016 to 2018. Even companies that were buying Toyota before had to move to this low end. I mean, I'm not trying to sound derogatory, bear with me. I mean, because the prices were lower than the prices of the bigger brands. So in moments like this, it is always good for organizations that are selling premium brands to find another product. Because the money that is not in town, where will people get it to buy the products? You know, in my place, they will say the money that is not available, there is no sickness that will be able to take it. Because when the money is not available, there's nothing you can do. So people's purchasing power have declined. Where do you think they will get the money to buy the premium products? So even big organizations, and I'm saying big organizations in those 2015 to 2019 days, had to start buying some of these other products, and that was when they used the alternative. That was when they penetrated the Toyota market. Thank you very much. Thank you. I've seen a lot of thank you here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, you joined from Burkina Faso. Thank you so much. Glad to see you. Thank you very much. Business is now mostly human to human. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Also, another person from Burkina Faso. I never knew we could have people from Burkina Faso. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Ilushake. Thank you. Okay, I think I've responded to this. Okay, somebody's responding. You might have to back up your case with data and also make recommendations on where to cut cost of production to reduce the cost price for consumers. Thank you. Maintain premium but create subcategories that can compete price-wise with other price-sensitive competition. Okay, I mentioned that. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to see if we have someone raising up his hand. I think somebody raised up his hand sometimes ago. Okay, do we have somebody raising up his hand? I would like to hand over to the admin now. Okay, admin. So I'm sure you will see like somebody who is raising up his or her hand, and we can take such a question. Okay, Mr. Akindeji is raising up his hand.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I want to appreciate you. Your lecture was awesome. And I want to implore that you can possibly get the recorded version. Nobody will steal your intellectual property, but at least it will make more sense. And we will appreciate it. You can have the recorded version of this. Having said that, sir, I have a question, sir. When you were talking about data collection, I mean, primary data and secondary data, you mentioned mystery shopping, mystery shoppers. Is mystery shopping a form of primary data collection?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay.
So because you are also collecting data on seeing how your customers are being treated.
Yes, and you also mentioned that primary data becomes an option when you've exhausted all
secondary
the
data.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to be sure I heard properly.
Yes, absolutely. So you need to exhaust, go to the internet, check all statistics available, and if you cannot find answers to your question, you now embark on primary data. But more often than not, the data agencies, the research agencies understand this. So all you need to do is to pay them, commission them, and then they will go out and get those things done for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. More powers to elbows for your erudition.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Admin, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the wonderful
Okay,
section.
we still have somebody, Mr. Obioma. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I'm a big fan, and I've been following your articles from time. Then I wanted to speak a bit on the marketing mix when we talk about the people part of marketing mix, and you dwelled on customer feedback or people reaching out to the customer care line. How do you respond? And I thought to also share that sometimes it goes beyond that. You know, the people part of marketing mix. You can also correct me if I'm wrong. The people part of marketing mix even starts with your own staff, how the staff of the companies are treated. Because when I started my journey in sales and marketing, I worked for a company that when the way we present ourselves, the way we carry ourselves and present ourselves, people are eager to know, okay, what brand are you promoting? Oh, this brand must be a good brand and thereabouts. Okay. Then for some companies too, that also don't have that face-to-face engagement with their customers, and it's not a customer facing. You don't have staff that do customer facing role. Another way to also show that you care for people is there's a way you drive your promotion, your advertisement that also show that you care for people. You're very conscious of the environmental or societal awareness. What you're following the trend of what's happening within society. So you express that you care for the people. Like you made mention earlier, that a lot of consumers are becoming health conscious now. So I thought of throwing out even if you're not for consumer goods, yeah, if you're promoting a consumer brand, you're creating a promotional or an advert or a message that shows, oh, okay, we care. Because we care, we are taking care of the environment, this and this and that. It's also a way to show caring for the people. It's also something we can bring to our marketing mix to show we care. I thought to share about that. I also want
Let me respond briefly, sir. When you talk about the marketing mix, it's much more about your company vis-a-vis your consumers. Talking about your staff, it's now an internal environment. So dealing with your staff, how competent you are, how competent they are, how motivated they are, how many they are, if you have enough of them, is much more of an internal environment issue. But when it comes to marketing mix, it's a function of between your company and your consumers. If you are talking about price, it's between your company and consumers. So you are talking about people. It's talking about the people who are relating with customers. So it's not talking about employees here. So if you are talking about employees, will not come and look at the internal environment. I don't know if that makes sense with you.
Yes, yes, I understand. Thank you.
As much as possible, what you said is key, because I like to quote Richard Branson. Richard Branson said, the way you treat your staff is going to determine how your staff will treat your customers. He says, treat your staff the way you want your customers to be treated. So what Richard Branson said is relatable in what you are talking about, but when it comes to marketing mix, it's much more about how you care for your customers, how concerned are your staff when they are going to relate with customers.
All right,
Okay,
that's clear.
admin.
Thank you. Yeah, clear, very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. You can stop sharing now.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining this section. We are glad that you were able to join us in the section. We are also grateful to our tutor, to our facilitator for today. We know that it has been an insightful time. Also, we would like to let everyone know that the next masterclass will be held on Tuesday, March 19, 2024. So we look forward to each and every one of us that has, been a part of this one to also join that other one. I will drop the link to the form for those that didn't register to please do well to register so that you can be duly informed during the next ones and subsequent ones as they come up. Also for the recording, I saw that some people had requested for the recording. That will be available later in the week. So if you register on the link, you will be among those that will receive it. For those that joined the section without registering, this information is for those that joined without registering. Please, the information will be dropped on the chat box. So just please do well to register so that you can, be a part of it. And when the next one comes also, we can also be a part of it. If there are any questions for Simon Page, we are available to, to help us with that. Or in the absence of that, we hope that this section has been very insightful, and we hope that what we had planned to gain from it, that we had all, gotten what we needed to get from it. Thank you, Mr. Oluwole Dada, for this insightful section. And we know that, of course, we were very certain that you would do an excellent job. And we know that you continue to, help us to push the word regards to customer psychology. Thank you, everyone. We hope you had a very nice time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.